Majorian was a Roman emperor of the Western Roman Empire who reigned from 457 to 461 AD during one of the most tumultuous periods in Roman history. His rule, though short-lived, is often considered one of the more capable and reformist efforts to restore the empire's fortunes amidst its decline. His reign marked a brief revival of Roman strength, but he was ultimately overthrown, and his legacy became a blend of ambition, military prowess, and tragic failure. Majorian was born around 420 AD, likely in the Roman province of Gaul. He belonged to a prominent family, with his father, the high-ranking official Anicius, being associated with the senatorial aristocracy. He was raised and educated in the Roman aristocratic tradition, and his early career seems to have been military. By the time of his ascent to the throne, Majorian was well regarded for his skills as a military leader. In the 400s and 50s, the Western Roman Empire was in rapid decline. The empire was increasingly beset by internal divisions, external invasions, and weak emperors. Emperor Valentinian III, who ruled from 425 to 455 AD, was a particularly ineffective ruler. His reign was characterized by administrative instability and a lack of effective leadership. Valentinian's assassination in 455 created a power vacuum, and this presented an opportunity for strong military figures like Majorian. Majorian was appointed as Magister Militum, Master of Soldiers, the top military command in the empire, by Emperor Avitus, who had briefly taken the throne following Valentinian III's death. However, Avitus quickly became unpopular, and in 457, Majorian, a leading general, led a coup against him. Majorian had the backing of the army, particularly the forces in Gaul and Hispania, and after Avitus's ousting, he was proclaimed emperor. Once emperor, Majorian sought to restore the Western Roman Empire's power and stability. He immediately recognized the severity of the empire's decline, which had been exacerbated by years of weak leadership, barbarian invasions, and the depletion of resources. Majorian's reign, though brief, was marked by several key initiatives to combat these issues. Majorian recognized the need to rebuild the military, particularly the disorganized and poorly trained army. He sought to establish a professional and well-trained military force that could defend the empire's borders and assert Roman authority over rebellious provinces. He reformed the army's command structure, promoted competent officers, and focused on increasing the army's morale. Majorian attempted to defend the empire's borders against the encroaching barbarian invasions, which had become a critical problem. The Visigoths in Gaul, the Vandals in North Africa, and other barbarian groups were steadily advancing into Roman territory. One of his significant military campaigns was directed against the Vandals, who had conquered North Africa and established a kingdom there. In 460 AD, Majorian launched a naval campaign against the Vandals under King Genseric. His goal was to recapture the Western Mediterranean, which had been largely lost to the Vandals. The campaign initially showed promise, as Majorian's forces engaged the Vandals at sea. However, the Roman fleet was decisively defeated by the Vandals in the Battle of Cape Bon, marking a significant failure for Majorian's military efforts. Majorian worked to restore the prestige of the imperial administration. He enacted a series of legal reforms aimed at curbing corruption and inefficiency in the government. His administration also sought to restore the tax base, which had been severely depleted. He focused on strengthening the central authority of the emperor, reducing the influence of the Senate and local magnates who had gained power at the expense of imperial control. Majorian's relationship with the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, was a mix of diplomacy and pragmatism. The Eastern Empire, under the leadership of Emperor Leo I, had a complicated relationship with the West. While Majorian sought to maintain friendly relations with the East, he also understood the need to assert Western Roman sovereignty, especially as the Western Empire became more dependent on foreign mercenaries. Majorian also sought to re-establish a sense of Roman identity and pride. He saw the empire's cultural heritage and the ideals of Romanitas as essential for the survival of the empire. His policies sought to unify the empire's various provinces and restore Roman culture in the face of growing barbarian influences. Majorian's reign was also marked by efforts to strengthen the imperial bureaucracy and reaffirm Roman traditions, including supporting Christianity as the official religion. Despite his reforms and efforts, Majorian's reign faced significant challenges. His campaign against the Vandals, while initially promising, ended in disaster with the naval defeat in 460 AD. His military setbacks, combined with his reforms, alienated some of the powerful factions within the empire, including the military and aristocracy, who were unhappy with his attempts to centralize power and reduce their influence. In 461 AD, Majorian was deposed in a palace coup orchestrated by the general Ricimer, who had been one of Majorian's supporters but grew increasingly disillusioned with the emperor's policies. Ricimer, who was of Vandal origin and had significant influence in the army, played a pivotal role in the downfall of Majorian. After being forced to abdicate, Majorian was arrested and brought to a villa near Rome. He was eventually executed, though the exact circumstances of his death remain unclear. Some accounts suggest that he was starved to death, while others imply that he was murdered. The death of Majorian marked the end of any significant attempts to revive the Western Roman Empire. His reign, though short, is remembered as one of the last hopes for the empire's survival in the West. Majorian's efforts to restore military strength, reorganize the empire's administration, and combat barbarian invasions were noble but ultimately unsuccessful. Following his death, the Western Roman Empire would continue to decline, ultimately falling to the Germanic chieftain Odoacer in 476 AD, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. Majorian's reign is often seen as a tragic one, as he was a competent and visionary ruler who, despite his best efforts, was unable to overcome the deep structural problems facing the empire. His reforms, though ambitious, were too little, too late, and the internal divisions of the empire, along with the rising power of barbarian groups, proved insurmountable. In many ways, Majorian was one of the last figures who truly tried to preserve the Western Roman Empire, and his downfall represents the culmination of the empire's dissolution.